Hey there friends, welcome back to my channel and to the pajama party. My name is Liz, my company is Hello From Liz Mathews, and I am back with you today for part 2 of a special edition YouTube video where I'm sharing with you my experience of traveling to the attic. I did a girls trip with Elizabeth and Can Stitch to the desert. We visited the attic, we did some shopping, and I'm going to recount all of it for you here today. Part 1 of the video, I'm calling them part 1 and 2, went up on Thursday morning when I was in Phoenix, and it was the what am I packing and what do I hope to pick up at the attic video. This is going to be a chronological retelling of our fabulous trip. So if you haven't seen that video, maybe pop back and watch it before this. I would also like to say that this video can kind of be considered a companion video to Liz's, and I of course am going to link Elizabeth and Can Stitch in the description box below. You should definitely be following her on YouTube and on Instagram. She is fantastic, and she and I both shared a lot of behind the scenes videos, and we did a lot of stories on Instagram throughout the 3 days that we were in Phoenix. So definitely go check her out. You can find all of my the attic girls trip, trip to the desert highlighted stories in those highlighted bubbles on my Instagram if you kind of want to see in real time the adventures we had and the wonderful time that we got to spend together. So if you didn't hear or didn't know, Elizabeth and Can Stitch, Liz, and I are friends who connected here through YouTube and then Instagram, and then we met at a couple of retreats. She helped me at market this year, and Liz lives in Texas. I am here in Maryland, so we just knew we wanted to get together for like a stitchy, shoppy girls weekend getaway. And we started thinking, where should we go? Where do we want to go when it's kind of warm, but we don't want to melt? Where should we go? So immediately a couple shops started to make their way to the top of the list of places we'd like to see. And the attic, we couldn't escape the attic. It was just in our thoughts. So we decided to make the trip to the desert, and we booked a 3-day quick girls getaway to Mesa, Arizona, just so we could visit the really renowned shop, the attic. It did not disappoint. So I am just going to tell you all about our trip in the 3 days that we were there, show you my haul, and just kind of recount everything, because I'm still in a girls getaway glow, and I thought I would like to share it with you before it gets too far away. I will be back on Friday with my traditional YouTube catch up, and if you want to skip this one and meet me there, no biggie. But if you'd like to hear all of my thoughts on our trip, then stay tuned. Did I already mention that everything will be linked in the description box below? You don't need to take any notes. I will be sure to link everything. Everything that I share from the attic, you are welcome to call and place a special order for. They are shipping out like crazy. So they should be one of the shops on your contact if you need something list. I think that's everything I wanted to throw out at the beginning before I dive into everything. I will put pictures of our trip at the very end. I am not tech savvy. In fact, Joe's gonna put pictures at the very end because he does all my video editing. So I'm not going to be throwing them or intermingling them, interspersing them while I chat with you. They will be at the end if you'd like to see some pictures from the trip. And again, Liz has already posted her video recap of our girls trip. She did a fantastic job documenting, so much better than I did. She's got a shop tour. She's taken a lot of videos, and you definitely want to watch her video. So it's linked below, ready for you to watch. Okay, so I've gotten a couple questions about how this trip all came together and how the meet and greet came together. Liz and I did a meet and greet at the attic Friday night for local stitchers to just come in and say hi, to meet us, basically just time with fellow stitchers. And that all came together super authentically when Liz and I decided that we were headed to the attic, and we booked our trip, and it was all coming together. How many times do you talk about getting together with girlfriends or friends and it just it just doesn't happen. I'm so glad that we made this happen. Liz is a fantastic travel arranger. She took care of everything, all of our reservations. I was like along for the ride, and it was fantastic. Thank you, Liz, for doing that. But we actually made it happen. So we contacted Jean when we found out, Jean owns the attic, that we would be in town on days that the attic is traditionally closed. They are only open Saturday and Sunday, or Friday and Saturday. Check if you're going, if this inspires you, which I really hope it does. Check and see what days they're open, because they are not open many days. But they will open for you if they know you're coming to town for private shopping. So when we booked our trip, we contacted the attic and said, hey, could we pop in on Thursday for some private shopping? They said, absolutely no problem, that would be great. And then through chatting with Jean, who I know from the industry, and I think Liz and Jean knew each other through YouTube, and I think they met at market and stuff like that. Jean threw out the idea. She was very kind to say, I don't want to impose on your vacation, but if you're going to be in town, how do you feel about a meet and greet? And Liz and I were like, meeting fellow stitchers? Yes, we are in, please, let's do it. So that's how it all came about. The trip was booked, we were scheduled, we just wanted to come shop, and then we had the opportunity to do this meet and greet, and we said yes. So when we landed in the desert, it was Wednesday at 4:30. We both came in at the same time. Liz had a much shorter flight than me, that lucky duck. I was about 4 hours and 40 minutes, you know, pretty much across the country. But we landed and we connected in baggage claim. It was so good to see her and to hug her after so much excitement and planning and looking forward to this trip. So we were finally together. We got our luggage, everything made it. We got the rental car and we drove to our hotel. Liz booked us in the Sheraton Desert Oasis, which was fantastic. We knew that we wanted 2 separate rooms because we like our privacy and we like to retreat to our rooms in the evening. But the hotel room that Liz happened to book us was actually 2 suite hotels that had an adjoining door. So we had 2 kitchens, 2 beautiful bathrooms, 2 beautiful bedrooms, 2 balconies. It was fantastic. And there were cactus everywhere and waterfalls and rocks. It was a great location. Not super close to the attic. I think it was like 23 miles away down the highway. But if you decide to go to the attic, definitely check this hotel out. It was so good. I will put some pictures in at the end. One thing that struck me immediately, as soon as we were out about in daylight, which was that Wednesday night? I don't think it was dark yet Wednesday night. The scenery, everything is this gorgeous color of coral red rust, and the cactus. I am gonna say this a lot. I think I probably mentioned it a few too many times to Liz. I was just blown away by the cactus. They have cactus in Texas, so this wasn't a new thing for her. I thought they were stunning, so inspiring. Okay, there are the traditional really tall round ones, and I'm talking really tall, double my height and big. I don't know how I got away without getting a picture next to one, but I just studied them. They were so cool. And then there are these flat, I don't know what they're called, round, flat cactus, pictures at the end, that are purple on one side and green on the other, maybe. I don't know. I didn't get to study those well enough either, but they were gorgeous. I was really enamored with the flora and fauna. The flora. So cool. So different than what we have here in Maryland. So yeah, everywhere I'm cactus, cactus, cactus. The hotel was surrounded by beautiful cacti, and the scenery was just fantastic. We headed directly to Target to get some food because we didn't want to have to eat out all the time, and we had these kitchens. We definitely overestimated how much food we would need for the 3 days that we were there. I hope that someone got to enjoy all the food that we didn't even touch, but it was just nice to be able to lounge in the hotel at night and not have to be going. Doing meet and greets, and just my excitement level was running so high every day. I even feel like talking about it right now. I'm wired. So it was really nice to have calm evenings at home, snacking, being creative. at home, meaning the hotel, and just like to regroup and calm down a little bit. So the hotel, food in the hotel was the way to go. I highly recommend it. So we didn't do too much on Wednesday night when we got into town. We did exchange some gifts, which is why I am wearing pajamas. Liz has surprised me with matching pajamas for our girls trip. These are so cute, so soft, and I am totally copying her because when she filmed her recap video, she had her pajamas on, so I was like, well, I'm gonna wear my matching pajamas in the recap video. I love them. I thought it was so sweet and such a good idea that she got these for our girls trip. I'll link them below. Sorry about that. I'm not sure where I got cut off, but I thought it would only be appropriate that I wore my pajamas to do this recap video today. A common theme that you will hear throughout this video is that I copied Liz. There were so many things that she did that I was like, I'm gonna do that too. I'm gonna do that too. So you'll hear it a lot. Liz also gifted me one of the sweetest things ever. This set of bracelets. I don't know if you're familiar, I'm sure that you are, with like the Taylor Swift friendship bracelets that are out there. I love them. I'm a Swiftie. Did not go to the concert though. But Liz made these for me, and they say Liz the Attic, and then there's a little decorative flower in there. She also made a set for herself in her colors. She chose the best colors for me, and you know how there are just some gifts that just get you? Like, there's something about the fact that she made us friendship bracelets with the Attic to remember this amazing trip, and I don't know, it made me teary. I love these so much. I am afraid to wear them too much. I of course wore them every day of our trip, but I kind of want to just save them and maybe put them, like, dangle them over a framed picture of us from our trip or something. I just need to preserve this. This is so sweet. So thank you, Liz, for all of your kindness. She also got me some scrunchies, and Sissy, Liz's mom, who you've seen on some of Liz's video, sent me a gift too, which I thought was so, she did not have to do this. And when you find out what this is, you'll think it's extra sweet too. Do you remember, or maybe you didn't catch it, Liz and I did a live Instagram video together, and we were talking about the things that we wanted to pick up at the attic, or just things we wanted in general. And I said I wanted some sort of like portfolio where I can keep my threaded needles for really intense projects like my dimensions kits, so I don't have to like rethread needles. So Sissy made this for me. That's amazing. She just whipped this out just for me. I love it. I have not had a chance to use it because it's been in my attic stash pile, but you can insert your needles through these little like felt rolls, and that way everything is just ready to go. Pull it out, stitch, 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 switch, stitch, stitch, stitch. I love it. So this is exactly what I was wanting to look for. Thank you so much, Sissy. You did not have to do that. I can't believe that you just whipped that out, and I love it. Thank you. I gifted Liz a couple little things too. You can hear about it in her video. One thing is that I want, oh my gosh, I'm going a million miles an hour. I'm sweating. I'm just like super pumped. So I apologize in advance for all the stumbling that I'm gonna do over my words, but just a lot of happy thoughts happening in here. I got us these t-shirts, and I didn't pack mine because I was like, Liz won't want to be a twin with me. Little did I know that she would have no problem with it. So I found these for us on Etsy. I ordered Liz a blue one, and I got myself a white one. Seems kind of dangerous. I don't know. I'll link it below if you're interested. I just love the vibrant colors, and they're just kind of like fun and summery, and they kind of felt like girls trippy to me. So I just wanted to show you that in case you were interested in getting a t-shirt yourself. Okay, Wednesday, like we kind of crashed Wednesday, and we knew we would have a big day on Thursday. We had asked Jean if we could get to the attic at 10 a.m. to do some personal shopping. They were already there, they were going, they said 10 a.m. is no problem. So we had a very like casual, do a little bit of stitching. I watched Liz knit on the couch. Very interesting, more on that later. And we stopped for coffee and then we made our way to the attic. There are no words to describe what it's like walking into such an epic store. It is so big, and I was just immediately overwhelmed by the sheer volume of models and products in the store in the very best way. Every place you looked, there was just something fabulous. And this was a theme that I found throughout the entire trip. I would be talking to somebody at the meet and greet, and my eye would like catch something behind them and be like, excuse me, I have to go check that out. The attic is amazing. It got its reputation for a reason. It has been in business for, I think, 30 plus years. It is fantastic. If you are a stitcher, particularly a sampler lover, because the attic is where samplers rule, put this on your list. You will not be disappointed. Liz and I spent 3 hours there on Thursday shopping. We kind of got in, we were like, oh my gosh. Jean gave us a tour, introduced us to her wonderful staff, and then turned us loose. And I think for a little bit, Liz and I were like, look at this, shopping together, like trying to get our bearings. And then slowly we just like drifted apart and we lost each other for 2 hours while we were shopping. It was so much fun because I had no idea what she picked up and she had no idea what I picked up. But just wandering, oh my gosh, the antique samplers, the models, the staging. Excuse me, I should have brought some water over. I didn't think I would be so excited. Everything is just top-notch and gorgeous. Most of the models there that Jean stitched, I'm sure all the models that Jean stitched, which is a lot of the models that the attic has, were stitched on 56 count linen. To know Jean is to know that she does 56 count linen. Everything is just shrunken and dainty and perfect and inspiring and just tiny and sweet, and the stitching is perfect, and it's like everything in miniature is better and more cute. So everywhere I looked, it was like, look at that, look at that, look at that, look at that. Between the beautiful model stitching, the antique samplers, the products, it was just overwhelmed. I was overwhelmed. The spinning racks of products, the thread section, you really do need to look at Liz's video because she did that shop tour in video. I did not take enough pictures of the attic. So if you really want to see what I'm talking about, go check out her video because I can't describe it and do it justice. It is just a magical place. And you know how they say seeing models really changes everything when you're looking at needlework? It does. And imagine just being inundated with gorgeous models. I actually felt super lucky that I don't have a lot of time to stitch things other than models for myself and now stockings and dimensions, because I don't know how I would have gotten out of the attic without an entire suitcase full of patterns. And of course the thread to go with it, because how do you choose? I don't know. There's so much goodness there. The attic is kind of set up in areas, whether that be by designer, like Scarlet House is towards the front. There's a whole section for Needlework Press. Those are two local designers to the attic. And then there's like a Christmas section, there's a Halloween section, a Kathy Barrick section, a Stacey Nash section. And you just kind of pop your way around. And every like slot in the rack, it's not just one pattern. There's several. So you need to go through them and pick out your favorite. It's incredible. So we were there on a day that the shop was closed, as I mentioned, and I think there was like a handful of employees there working. The phone never stops ringing. They are doing such a good job at managing business and shipping orders out. Like, it was very impressive. I was tired for the ladies just watching them hustle and work and get orders together and make the phone calls and make stitchers happy and ship products out to the stitching community. It was it was really something. I have to be honest. Like, I was very impressed, and I was so grateful to have a couple quiet hours to shop. So Liz and I did our shopping, and then she gave me a little warning. She was like, I think I'm starting to wind down. And I was like, okay. And I just like quick gathered a few more things, and I was like, okay, I think that we're ready. So we checked out, and I thought I would go ahead and share what I got round one, part one at the attic with you now, rather than do all the haul at the end, just to kind of space it out. I think, I'm going to be so bold as to say, I think you will be impressed at my self-control. We'll see. Okay, the attic has an incredible selection of threads. This is probably not a surprise to you. Sorry, my stool is very squeaky. And I have been on the hunt for more overdyed silks. And I've asked people, what are some overdyed silk companies I want to try to use more? And when I say try to use more, I have to be very careful in my designs because shops have to be able to easily source that thread. I don't want to design with something that no shop can ever pick up or carry or stock for their customers. But a name that always comes up is Dinky Dyes. So the selection at the attic was amazing, and to see these Dinky Dyes threads in person, I was like, I need to pick them up. I need to, while I'm looking at them, while they are in front of me, I need to get a collection so I can give them a try. So this is a tiny portion, of the palette that Dinky Dyes offers, and I just basically picked out my favorite colors. So take a peek at those. Oh my gosh, look, you can see how lustrous and shiny and silky they are. They are so pretty. It's almost a shame to like unpackage them. They're so beautiful, but I'm really anxious to try to use these. They're really plush, really silky, very soft, and that is the palette that I went for my first Dinky Dye selection. I'm sure that there will be more in the future. I think it's a slim chance that I got all of the colors I would need for a design that I haven't come up with yet. So I'm sure that I will have to order because my LNS does not have Dinky Dyes on hand. You can do a special order, but they're dreamy and beautiful, and I've heard such good things. So that is what I got. I don't know why I'm holding this up for you. I also got Just Cross Stitch ornament issue. I find this very interesting, not only for, well, I just find these very interesting. So I got the Halloween issue at my LNS a couple weeks ago, and I thought I would pick up the Christmas one when I saw it there at the attic. I got, two little things. I got some Beeswax Bliss Floss Conditioner from Noteworthy Needle. I have been very curious about thread conditioners lately, and I thought that I would give it a try. I thought that this travels well, and I added it to my cart. We'll see. Feedback to come in a regular floss tube video after I give it a try. And then I also got this little memento. It is a needle minder that says, "The attic where samplers rule." You know, I needed a little memento from the trip. I don't actually use needle minders, but I save them on this really big metal frame around a cork board in my office. So that will go there. I also found, and there were a couple more of these, to my Prairie Schooler lovers out there, a pattern that I had never seen before. It's original cardstock. It is Garden Gloves, book number 120. Look at that. I think there were 2 or 3 more books there. If you're interested and you like to collect Prairie Schooler cardstock pieces like me, give them a jingle. I have absolutely no plans to stitch this, but it's in my collection now, and I'm very happy that it is. I purchased one chart for myself to stitch, aside from the Prairie Schooler, which is really, that's stash, let's be real. I only purchased one chart for me to stitch. Are you impressed? I am impressed, but I explained why. So there's a story behind this. we talked about, let me show you what it is. It is ink circles arranging cacti. There it is. I chatted with you about my love of the cactus and how gorgeous they were. And I saw this model in the attic when Liz and I were browsing independently. And I was like, that's really cool. I like that, but I don't have time to stitch right now. Like I've got my stocking, I've got my ornaments. I don't need that. I was trying to be wise with my money. So I wandered away and I'm like, hey Liz, like, what do you have in your cart? And I looked down and she's got this in her cart. And I was like, oh, okay. So this can be like a friendship new start at the attic? She said, yeah. So I ran back over and I got it and I kitted it up for myself and pulled the threads for Liz too. They were out of not a lot. It only calls for 5 threads, but they were out of 3 of them. So let me show you what I got. I will write the conversion. Is that what's called, a conversion? Yeah. The Hello From Liz Mathews conversion in the description box below. This is what I went with. It was really helpful having the model there to reference. Oh my gosh, the squeaky chair. And it was right next to the thread area. So I substituted 3 colors. I did the same for Liz. She got all of them. So we have the same color palette to stitch up this ink circles arranging cacti pattern at home. Now the model, let me see. The model was stitched on 30 count fabric. So it was like 6x4, which is a nice like prefab frame size. But I was at the attic and I was like, okay, do I want to do something like 56 count? And I looked at the 56 count and I was like, nope. Yes, but no. I don't think I can do it. Perhaps with some magnification. That's what my mom said. She was like, you just need some cheaters. So I don't know. I chickened out in conclusion, and I'm getting ahead of myself. I didn't buy any linen the first day, but the second day I went back and I got some 46 count linen. So I will talk about it in a second, but I did get a start on it because it felt appropriate to start it on our girls trip, and I made some really good progress. But look how sweet and tiny this is stitching up to be. Okay, rogue needle there. Let me put that in. So this is 46 count, and you can see where I've gotten to. Really, really fun stitch so far. More to come on this. I have some plans for it. I'll tell you now. I'm sorry that if you listen to FlossTube or watch FlossTube on Friday, this will be a repeat. But I was stitching on it this morning, and I had an aha moment, a light bulb moment. Let me show you where I am, and then I'll tell you what I'm thinking. So I started in the center with the big cactus because I wanted to see how tall it was gonna be on this miniature 46 count fabric. I was going for like as Cheez-It size pillow as possible, as my friend Kia would say, without doing 56. So I started with that vertical cactus to see the height and get an idea about the width. So, oh gosh, I'm all over the place, I'm sorry. So I think what I'm gonna do is actually an abridged version of this design. I think I'm going to continue to fill this in up here, and then I'm gonna put Liz and I's initials down here and maybe 2023 up here. And it's gonna be like a little half-size version that I can turn into an ornament because I love sentimental ornaments. It's one of the things I like to collect when we travel. I always wanna pick up an ornament from a location or a memory, and this would be just perfect. It means I'll be done in half the time, and I just like the idea of having a memento on my tree. So more to come on what I am gonna put vertically next to the cactus, but I think it's gonna be like my initials and Liz's initials and then the date. So essentially it will just be like that. But I just couldn't believe that she was also like drawn to this and had already had this in her cart, and it was one of the things that I was really like, I should do that. Should I not? So I am. Turns out I am. So you can stay tuned for some progress on that. I want to have it done in time for Christmas this year for sure. I also picked up some linen. That was one of the things that I told you guys I did want to pick up. Again, I think I was very in control. On the first trip, I only got 3 pieces. The first is a Forbidden Fiber 36 count bungalow. Honestly, this is gorgeous. And while I didn't necessarily need a fat half, I don't think that I will be sad about it. Look how beautiful this fabric is. I am a sucker for a really, really light neutral that doesn't skew really pink, really green, really anything. That's very neutral. And this like is kind of like checking all the boxes for me. So I am actually happy that I ended up with a fat half, because I will not be sorry I have that. Again, that's Forbidden Fiber Co. Bungalow. And then I got 2 more pieces, both of Seraphim fabric. The linen selection was gorgeous at the attic, and seeing it in person is the way to go. So I have heard really good things about Seraphim. This is 36 count Evergreen Fog. I am a 36 stitcher. It is my sweet spot because I like 2 threads, 2 strands of thread over whatever number of linen. 2. I don't like 1. So this is going to be just perfect. I love that there's like a green foggy undertone to this blue-gray color. I think it's so beautiful. And then I also picked up from Seraphim Fabrics 36 count Winter Woolens. That is a name I have definitely heard around the floss tube community. This is a very popular color, and just as I was describing a neutral that doesn't lean any which way, this is kind of similar to that. This has maybe a little bit of a green undertone, but I think it's gorgeous. Very limited modeling, but that's kind of, I like modeling. I like limited modeling. I like all linen, let's be real. This needed to come home with me, so it did. I got a fat quarter of that. And the only other, well, I guess 2 things I picked up. Where are you? A collection of threads that I needed. These are all for things that I am not keeping. These will be included in things that are gonna be shipped out this holiday season. That's all I'm really gonna say about that. But I needed to pick these up while I was at the attic. They're for the membership. I'm like, how elusive and annoying can I be? There's gonna be some giveaways in the membership close to the holiday season, and I needed some threads that I couldn't find at my local, so I picked them up there. And I also picked up 1 chart. This is also gonna be a giveaway. This is not for me, but it's one of my favorite charts that I saw around needlework marketplace releases. This is from Quaint Rose Needlearts. I watched her video where she went through her new releases, and this piece is amazing. I was just in love with it when she showed it. I have to say, in the video, this shows a little more. It's beautiful in the video. If you have not seen it, I will link it below. It's just awesome. This is one of the most creative pieces that I have ever seen, and I was immediately like, whoa, you did an amazing job. So when I saw this at the attic, I knew that I wanted to kit it up for something special, and that is just what I did. So that's what some of those threads are for. It's for this. If you haven't seen this, watch that video. The butterfly and the grasshopper are all like patches of fabric, as is the top little section. So you know how I feel about joining fabrics together. I've been doing it since I think my first year in business with a loft, where there's an inset of blue fabric on a neutral. I love it. I just think it adds so much depth and texture. So I did pick this up while we were there. Definitely make sure you see this. I feel like this might be a design that kind of flew a little bit under the radar, but that you are going to love. So that's Quaint Rose Needlearts, inspired by nature. You actually get the patterns for both of these designs in the like chart pack, so it's a great piece to pick up. Okay, so we wrapped up at the attic. We were checking out. We're standing there, like the doors are locked because the attic is closed that day, and a gentleman knocks on the door and he comes in. The ladies recognized him, and he said, we're next door at Intentional Food Cafe. We're shooting and filming some promotional material, but we need some more bodies in the restaurant. Does anybody want to come over and have lunch on us while we do some filming? And we were like, well, we were literally just asking for restaurant suggestions. So instead of driving, we walked a couple doors down and had a absolutely delicious lunch. It was so good. It was nice to just sit and think about our purchases and just calm down a little bit from that like energetic buzz that we were feeling. Food was so good, and I didn't know I was going to be in a commercial that day, but lo and behold, I was. So if you visit the attic, walk a couple doors down. The sign says IF Cafe because it's Intentional Food Cafe, and it's all like gluten-free, allergen-free, and so good. After that, after we refueled our bodies and just like came down from our attic buzz, we decided to go to a quilt shop. I believe it was 35th Street Sew and Vac, not far away, maybe 10 minutes down the road. It was a recommendation from the ladies at the attic, and we went and found just a couple things, just a few things. It was a great shop. They had a much better selection, or they had a selection that I have never seen in person before. My local quilt shop does not have the same lines, so it was really fun to see. But I couldn't quite switch my brain from like cross stitch to quilting, and I've been trying so hard to only pick up quilting materials when I have something in mind. Otherwise, it could get really overwhelming and expensive really fast. So we just walked around and checked it all out. Liz found a couple things. I saw her pick this up, and this is an instance where I just copied Liz because she said she could use this little fat quarter for making a knitting bag, and I was like, or a project bag, and I was like, yes, okay, I'm getting that. And what do you know, it has cactus on it. And you know, I love the cactus, so I picked up a swatch of this fabric. I don't know if I have enough information to even tell you. I don't think it's more as creative something, so I don't know that I'll be able to link it for you in the description box below, but it's getting me one step closer to my project bag making, my knitting bag making. That was just a spoiler. And when I saw that this was available, I thought, why not? So I picked that up. I also picked up this just kind of a all over print. I thought this would be a beautiful insert background if I ever do decide to make a project bag with that winter scene fabric I got that I was and still am obsessed with. I thought that would be a beautiful lining. So I picked that up. And then this is just something I couldn't walk away without. And it's like a little autumnal foraging piece of fabric. Some mushrooms, some ferns, some dragonflies, some rocks, some flowers. I just love it. So I got a yard because I was there. Why not? And that is all that I got at the quilting store. After we did that bit of damage there, we decided to go back to the pool and just lounge. The pool area was so fantastic at this resort. There's like a waterfall that you can swim under. There was a hot tub, too hot for a hot tub for me, but the pool was like tapered, so you just kind of walked in. There was a poolside bar. We got some margaritas and just relaxed while in the pool. What's better than that? So we spent a couple hours there soaking up some sun and just chatting, you know, enjoying not chatting through a phone on Instagram stories before we had dinner with Liz's cousins who happen to live in the Phoenix, Arizona area. We had a very nice dinner. We called it an early night. Time change was, I think it was a little bit more, I was 3 hours, Liz was 2, but I was hitting a wall pretty early. So we had a lovely dinner. Then we crashed before Friday. Now Friday, how did we decide to get the day started? Friday, Liz had found a yarn shop in the area that she had heard was really good. I think that she may have asked people on Instagram and they gave a recommendation, and it opened at 10 o'clock on Friday morning. So again, we were in the car getting our coffee, getting to the store bright and early because of that time change, makes us early shoppers. And we went to Tempeh Yarn and Fiber. If you're wondering what I'm looking at, I did in fact make a purchase because the evening before and both Wednesday night I was watching Liz do some knitting on the couch and I was just enthralled. I was like, wow. It's one of those things, I felt it with quilting as well, where I cannot believe that you make, like she was making socks. You can make sweaters, you can make quilts, you can make blankets. It's like I can't wrap my head around the fact that these hands can make those things. So I was just watching her knit these socks and I was like I felt the urge to try it too. So I said, if we go to Tempeh Yarns tomorrow, I might pick up something really simple if you don't mind showing me how to start. And Liz, just being Liz and like a natural teacher and a craft inspirer, said absolutely, I will show you how to do it. So I think she was really excited that I was interested. So when we were there, I picked up a few things. Okay, I've transferred it to, this is gonna make you laugh, a project bag. Christy of Crosshatch Quilts made this for me. I purchased it for her. I purchased it from her as a cross stitch bag. I feel like all those words came out wrong. I purchased this as a cross stitch bag and it is now apparently my knitting bag because I picked up 2 different kinds of yarn and Liz taught me how to knit and now I'm knitting. Okay, we all saw this coming, right? Like nobody's actually surprised. I need a new hobby like I need a hole in the head, but I can't be controlled. I don't want to be stopped. I am in this phase where I'm like, more creativity breeds more creativity for me, whether that be knitting or journaling or quilting or cross stitching. I just am feeling like super energetically charged with all the creative juices and I don't want to stop. So I knit now. I picked out 2, let me see here. I'm not going to do a good job at this. I'm sorry if you are a knitter looking for the proper information. I'm not going to have it. But I just kind of wandered while Liz shopped. And then here's another instance of me just copying Liz. She picked out a couple skeins of yarn that were from local dyers so that she could make something from our trip. And I was like, well, that's a great idea. You know, add sentiment to my creativity and I am all in. So I followed her right over to where she selected her yarns from, and I selected 2 as well. So here is the dye company. It is local to the Tempeh Yarn and Fiber shop, and I picked 2 colors. I picked Martian Sunset. Is that Liz? Did she pick the same color? Martian Sunset and Treetop. The yarn looks like this, and when I was standing there picking it out, Liz was like, oh, that reminds me of like a desert sunset. This color reminded me of the cactus, and again, like adds sentiment to creativity, and I am there for it. So you better believe I bought 2 skeins each of this with the intention of knitting a scarf because a scarf seems doable. And although I knit maybe 15-20 years ago, I have no recollection of it, so I wanted to start with something manageable. And I was like, do you think I can do stripes? And Liz said, of course you can, because she is just so encouraging and inspiring when it comes to creativity and crafts. So I picked the 2 colors, They helped me pick out the knitting needles. These are circular needles. And then Liz helped me to cast on and start my scarf. So check that out. Please don't check it out too closely. Remember, this is my first time doing any sort of color change. I feel very fumbly. I feel like I'm like I don't know. I feel myself when I'm doing this and I'm like so tense and so slow, but you know what? It's getting there. So check that out. This is gonna be my little Arizona scarf in another year or two. I will get faster as I go, but I'm really, really proud of myself and the ribbing. So Liz was a big inspiration for me, and I'm so happy to have a new craft and hobby and skill to work on. So that's what I got from Tempe Yarns, linked below. Yeah, everything will be linked below in the description box. And then what did we do? We had lunch at this restaurant called Flower Child. I think that's what it's called. Again, like a very health conscious restaurant that was out of this world. Like, I didn't think it would be so good, but Liz was familiar with the restaurant from the Austin area, and I'm really glad that she said let's go in there. We gave ourselves a couple hours back at the hotel, not back at home, back at the hotel to regroup, to relax. She taught me how to knit before our 4 o'clock meet and greet started at the attic. We found out that about 30 stitchers were gonna come say hi, which was great. Like I didn't know if anybody was gonna come really. So 30 was like a wow number. And on top of getting to chit chat with fellow stitchers, I also did a little shopping. So I just wanted to say such a big thank you to Jean, the staff of the attic, the community around the attic, stitchers who came out from near and far to say hi. You really made the trip wonderful for both Liz and I. And it was so nice to meet you. And I wish that we could do it more often. I kept telling people this cannot be our last trip out. I will be back to Phoenix for sure. I feel like I got to explore just like the smallest part of the attic as well as the Phoenix area, and there must be more. So if you were able to make it, thank you so much. That was definitely the highlight of the trip. So I did get gifted a couple things that I just wanted to mention and say thank you for. Diane gifted me this sweet little thread bed. I'm happy to have that. Amy of Mrs. Flossie came in and gave us this this cute little strawberry emery and these thread cards. And then Tina gifted me this little Ort holder, which I thought was so cute. She asked my favorite colors and nailed it. So thank you so much for those sweet little goodies. Jean also gifted both Liz and I, it's kind of hard to tell. This is a branded The Attic bag. I am not showing that off well. It says The Attic where samplers rule and has all of their information. It's a clear zipper pouch project bag. So I knew I wanted something branded from The Attic, so I'm happy to have this. And while shopping around and kind of adding to cart a little more, this is what I found on round 2. The first thing is this really cool frame. Now this is the frame that one of the models was hung on the wall with, and it was one of those things that like I saw and I was like, ooh, I need that. And in fact, I had been carrying it around the first day we were there, Thursday, but I put it down somewhere and forgot about it, and I was still thinking about it the next day, so I tracked it down and I got it. Can you see that like faux snow on there? I think this is so gorgeous. There are 2 more there if you're interested, but I can foresee a future Hello From Liz Mathews Christmas model in there. And then just 2 more things. One thing we've already kind of talked about, it is the 46 count Fox and Rabbit Duxbury linen that I picked up, that I started stitching the cactus piece on. Again, I just couldn't bring myself to do the 56. It scares me, and I just want to be like not scared when I start a new project. So 46 was my happy middle because I'm a 36 stitcher. This is 46. 56 is adorable but intimidating, so I landed right in the middle. And this is a beautiful cut of fabric. I definitely have more than enough to do more projects. And to be honest, stitching on it has been totally fine. It's definitely like a bright light, my glasses kind of stitching situation, but the petite size of the X's and the way your thread lies so perfectly when you stitch on such a small, on a high count of fabric, I love. So I think I will get back to this, and I guess I'm pretty happy to have this cut, and I'm pretty happy to say that my 46 stitching is going okay. And I got one more thing. This is something that I saw on the first day that we were there, and again, was still thinking about the next day. This, let's go the opposite direction, shall we? This is a piece of 20 count linen from Weeks Dye Works. I was just inspired when I saw this. Ideas came to my mind, and I was just intrigued, and like I wanted to explore it more when I saw this wide weave, this like low count fabric, and that is exactly the kind of thing that you need to buy. So although I left it behind the first night, the second night I went back and got it, and I'm so glad that I did. This is Weeks Dye Works Kudzu colored linen in 20 count. So we'll see what comes out of this. See that? But isn't it pretty? Let's compare the 46 and the 20. How do I do this? Look at that. That's dramatic, isn't it? So that concludes my attic haul. What do you know? I think I did pretty good. Very in control. So the trip to the attic, it was to visit the attic, or I should say the trip to the desert was to visit the attic for sure, but the highlight was just spending time with Liz, getting away, having a little girls trip, getting to meet fellow stitchers. It's the people, it's not the things. So although the haul is not expansive, I thought it was pretty good, and the haul of memories is like what it's really about. So when the meet and greet wrapped up, Jean and a collection of there were maybe 7 of us all went to this really, really yummy Mexican restaurant super close to the shop. We just chit-chatted. I had some more margaritas. We just got to spend time together, and it was so nice. Jean treated us to a lovely dinner. It was me, Jan, Carolyn, Amy, Liz, Diane, and Jean. So it was a really nice group of ladies, and such a great way to end the trip, because the next day Liz and I headed to the airport at 10 a.m. not bright and early, at 10 a.m. when we had to check out, and we got to hang out for a couple hours before we boarded our flights home. But man, oh man, it was such a good trip. And if you ever have the opportunity to get together with your creative girlfriends or friends, I can't recommend it enough. It's good for the soul, and I'm so thankful that we made it all come together. Thank you for letting me share my adventures and the excitement with you. I will post some pictures of our trip now. Be sure you watch Liz's video, and I will catch you in my next YouTube video on Friday. Happy travels, and until next time, bye.